hands moved before her mind could stop them. Inside the satchel were papers, documents with different names on them, travel passes that had been forged. You could tell by the inconsistent handwriting. And then she found the letter. It was old, worn, folded and refolded so many times the creases had nearly torn through. The handwriting was shaky, desperate. It was addressed to someone named Gabriel, and it was from a woman who signed herself only as Mama. The letter talked about a son who had run away, who she prayed had made it to freedom, who she hoped would never come back because they'd kill him if they found him. Margaret's hands started shaking. She read it again, and suddenly everything clicked into place. Thomas wasn't his real name. He wasn't a wealthy northern landowner. He was an escaped slave, and she was about to marry him. 8:45. The realization. Margaret sat on the floor of that dark room, holding the letter, and her mind raced through everything she thought she knew. The scars on his hands weren't from farm work. They were from chains. The shifts in his accent weren't carelessness. They were slips back into his real voice. The fear in his eyes when the marshal came to town wasn't paranoia. It was survival instinct. He'd been running, hiding, pretending to be someone else for so long that he'd almost convinced himself. Almost. Margaret should have been angry. She should have felt betrayed. Instead, she felt something else entirely. She felt terrified, not of Thomas, but for him, because she knew what happened to escaped slaves when they were caught. She'd seen it. Everyone had. The public whippings, the chains, the brutal journey back to plantations down south, where punishments were designed to break spirits and bodies. If Thomas was discovered, if anyone in town realized who he really was, he wouldn't just lose his freedom, he'd lose his life. But there was another problem. If Margaret married him, if she became his wife, without revealing his secret, she'd be complicit. She'd be harboring a fugitive. She could be arrested, fined, imprisoned. Her family could lose everything. And if she did reveal his secret, if she told the authorities or even just her parents, she'd be sentencing him to death. It was an impossible choice, the kind that strips away everything you thought you believed about yourself. Margaret put the letter back exactly where she found it. She didn't sleep that night. She just sat by the window, watching the darkness, trying to figure out what kind of person she wanted to be. By morning, she still didn't have an answer. But time was running out. The wedding was in 48 hours. The marshal was still in town. And Thomas, or Gabriel, or whoever he really was, had no idea that his carefully constructed life was about to crumble. 11:30. The confrontation. Margaret